Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Back again, man, after nothing's going on.
It's been a very exciting week of snow and debauchery.
Whoa, okay. All right. All right. Oh, boy. So, yeah, we're back again. We're going to talk a little bit more Andor. Episode 10, getting towards the end of the Andor line. Severely behind on Bad Batch, as always.
Bad Batch doesn't exist, and Mandalorian is definitely not creeping up on us at all.
Oh, boy. Yeah, for sure. It is, that whatever month or two break we took definitely set us back, didn't it?
A month or two. Crazy how that works.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy how that works. So, yeah, we're going to get into the episode after a little bit and, discuss it. Blah, 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 blah. We'll talk a little too much. It'll be fun. One of the highest rated episodes, though. So say that ahead of time. By the fans, one of the highest rated episodes that Andor produced. So pretty exciting stuff.
Sure, you can see why based on just how dramatic it is.
Nope, didn't get it.
I'm sure you can at least tell why I was so excited to get through this arc.
Spoiler alert: 5.
Because I wanted it to be done.
That's the rating.
I hate it.
Rating is 5. Oh boy!
Out of 100.
Out of 100, yes. Flame the review. It'll be great.
This was reviewing very well until someone randomly gave it a 5 out of 100 score, which broke our algorithm.
Oh God, yeah. Oh boy. So anyway, how's your week been?
God awful. It is cold. It is wet. It is snowy, and I've been up at 4 a.m. every day to go to work. I am miserable and tired.
Ooh,
and very ready to graduate and get a desk job.
That does sound fun. Desk job included.
Last Ohio winter season as a laborer. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
It brings great joy.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, we had our Texas trip. Was that last week or week before? Or you
talked about it on the last episode.
Yeah, so we did
I believe
that.
You'd just gotten back.
Yeah, that's right. Time does weird things to you.
So everyone already heard about that. Nobody cares about your Texas trip.
Good times. So yeah, getting back into the normal swing of things. God, what did happen this past week? Apparently not much.
Well, when we're now that we're back to consistently recording on Wednesdays, not much happens before Wednesday evening.
Yeah, that is kind of true. Dang. Oh, well, did go to a Blue Jackets game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we saw a game. I was looking around because obviously we didn't get to go because the game that we were going to go to got postponed until April.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking around. I was like, let's see if there are any tickets available. And I found some, I think just before the Texas trip. And it was this past Saturday against, I think San Jose. And they were like, I want to say the fifth row, the 5 row, the 5th row up in one of the corners on the goal side.
Nice.
And they were selling under the retail price. They were resale tickets, but they were selling under the retail price for the section.
Really?
Yeah. So I think whoever
How many days
it was,
were left before you bought them? Were they like getting down to that deadline where they're like, "Oh crap, we need to lower price"?
No, we're talking a couple of weeks beforehand. But
Jeez.
I think that they just wanted to get rid of it. And the thing is, they could have been season ticket holders who got it for a lot less.
True.
So we went, and last week I was actually sick. And it wasn't like terribly sick, but I was very tired. So we were kind of even doubting if we would go. Finally had that, snap out of it, felt fine. Still a little bit, groggy and so forth, just tired. But yeah, we went there, we saw the game. I ate a couple of hot dogs and a pretzel.
Nice.
Always got to come back with that. Ashley's a big nachos person, so she got the nachos, had the smorgasbord.
Just nachos and cheese, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it had jalapenos on it.
With how she is with food, that's extremely boring and surprising.
Sometimes
so basic.
Sometimes it just sounds good, and their cheese was good. It was kind of a little spicy cheese.
Oh, it wasn't just your basic cheese whiz.
No, it had some flavor to it. So that was nice. I had a beer there. They had BrewDog. Oh, you've had it, the Cannon Blast.
Yeah. So I get that pretty regularly. That's becoming one of my favorite brew dogs. It's not super high percentage. I think it's like 5%, but it's a tall boy, which is always nice. And it's just got a nice light flavor for what kind of beer it is.
Well, and she doesn't like IPAs, and she's drank it and thought it was fine. Yeah,
Kaylee's the same way. She hates IPAs, but she will drink that. Yeah,
it's a very, very light IPA, but, it was definitely built for stadium, which is usually a lot of light beer. Yeah. But
it's for the person who usually buys Bud Light, but is feeling adventurous.
Yeah, but it has some good flavor. But I couldn't drink more than one. I when you get sick, I'm not into that. But I had one. We ate some food. Great game. They came back and scored four goals. Gave up 3, scored 4. Nice. It was a lot of fun. Got real close to getting a parachuted hat. It was like literally one guy away from me who snagged it, so almost got a free hat.
How loud is it down there?
Oh, it's
when they crash into that.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's not like loud, but you hear it. There was one puck shot that came right up there, so get a little bit of that.
Did you flinch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you don't.
It'd be hard not to unless you do it every single week.
Yeah, it's weird. They zing those things in pretty quick. It's not the same as a baseball. It's quick. But that was a lot of fun. We glad we were able to go. She got a little sick then. Normally when I get sick, she doesn't catch it, and when she gets sick, I don't catch her sickness. So this was like the first time where she caught a very mild form of my sick, and was not as bad as I was, but just kind of tired for a few days. But yeah, both kind of over that. Looking forward to this weekend where we're going to do homemade pasta weekend. So that should be
a good time.
But yeah, no, that was pretty much that, and then obviously just working and doing that jazz.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well, the question is, are you ready to get into the most amazing Star Wars show episode ever?
Well, but first we have to hit our segment here. I
think the segment has kind of ran dry. I haven't watched anything.
No. Personally. This is a whole new segment. This is our Last of Us HBO Last of Us segment.
Oh, did you start it?
No.
Okay. I was saying you suck.
No,
because I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I've thought of. It's tough because did you play the games?
No, but I watched a lot.
The games.
Yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation, but I did watch a lot of gameplay of those, and most of the cutscenes, so I know the story for the most part.
Yeah, so, I watch, well, you know who I watch, the Djibouti Dubs guys.
Yeah.
And they did, I watched their playthrough.
You never played that?
What?
I thought that was one of the ones you played.
No. I really haven't been like video gaming very seriously in a long time. But
that's an old game, dude. That's 2000. That's PlayStation 3.
Yeah, but sometimes I get a little tired of. I was never much of a, one of those like first person story driven things. I kind of like a little bit more freeform stuff.
Yeah.
When you lock me into a story too much, I kind of get a little bored. So I
get that.
I've never really been into that, but I do remember watching the playthrough of that, and then The Last of Us 2. The story of Last of Us was fun. The story of Last of Us 2 was convoluted, but still, at least watching them, it was fun. That's the joy of Twitch. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, because I remember like when we were kids and you were like gaming heavier. And I think this was PlayStation 2, where like, you were into like the Jak and Daxter 2 and the Ratchet and Clank series. And I played Ratchet and Clank. I didn't really play much of Jak and Daxter. But, I just kind of remember like, I'd be back with my music or guitar or something, and then you play games. I was doing
drawing
basically
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I was basically doing the Twitch thing back then,
right,
when there was no Twitch. I was just watching you just play the game and getting the story and everything. So yeah,
Dad kind of did the same thing in a way.
Yeah.
Now he wouldn't now, obviously, but he was kind of into that too, I think.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, the stories of those were interesting. I have no idea. I've heard good things about it though, but no, I haven't gotten into watching it. And who knows? I'm not very good at watching new shows.
Yeah, neither am I. I have seen a lot of people on social media be like, I can't get into it because I can't see whatever Joel's daughter's name is die for the 4th time as I've played the game through every remake.
Spoilers!
Well, I listen, like I said, PlayStation 3, guys. I think by now we're allowed to spoil it.
Yeah, I think... because the story of Last of Us 2.
Yeah, so that's going to be a much harder thing to watch when they go into season. I think that's a season 2 thing. I don't think that's going to happen this season, from what I've read.
Well, I mean, they kill the protagonist and then turn it over to Ellie.
Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't very happy with that, because you spent all this time with this guy, and then it's basically it's done. You have a little bit of a sappiness, and then all of a sudden he's just dead.
Yeah. They made it was certainly a bigger game than what I'm thinking about, but they kind of copied a story from a Telltale game, which is the Walking Dead Telltale game, which was huge at the time.
Oh,
it
you're
was
talking
one of the first ones.
The Clementine one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
A very similar story. Obviously, one died from infection, one died from people, but the way that they turned that over, I thought was kind of neat. And they do kind of the same thing. Joel teaches Ellie quite a bit, and she has to grow up quickly, and then you eventually take her over, and she does some intense things. Like, she is a little Rambo at times.
Yeah, I think that the broader spectrum of the story is that I think they were trying to talk about how the cycle constantly repeats, but like nobody really wanted to see that.
Right.
Because effectively,
especially when you
ruin
you
Ellie.
play both. Yeah, you ruin her, and then you have to play as this character that you're
Abby.
Also set up to hate.
Nobody likes Abby at all.
No. And Abby is 100% justified in hating Joel. I hate to say it, but like
I can see it. Yep.
So I don't know. It was definitely not the masterpiece of a story that one was. So
yeah, I get what they tried to do, but it is.
They
what
changed
it is.
a little bit too much. I feel like is all. But
there's a YouTuber, Nakey Jakey.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, he does a lot of video game, kind of like almost explanation content as he sits on a yoga ball. And it's interesting because he did one
Ultimate
video.
Millennial goal.
Yeah, if you haven't watched his stuff, it's actually really good, and he's genuinely funny in his way. But like, he did a whole video on The Last of Us 2, and he also did a video on who's the studio that does Last of Us?
Naughty Dog.
I think it is. And he did a video on Naughty Dog and how they're outdated. Like, their whole premise is outdated. And I agree. I mean, I agree with him on a lot of that stuff. But he pointed out a lot of the things that I think people were unhappy about with Last of Us 2, just being like, yeah, I don't care about this character. You know, they're trying to make me care, but I just want to see him die. So yeah, it was good. So if you haven't watched those, they're a little bit older videos now, but they were poignant. So and funny. So he's got some good stuff. But anyway,
another video game show that I just saw got announced. We are getting a God of War show.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that too, which I don't know, man. I'm not sure.
The question is, are we going to get super angry, younger Kratos that just kills all gods, or is it going to be broody, old man boy Kratos?
Well, I mean, that would be my preference personally, having old man.
From storytelling aspect, I think that'd be better with maybe some flashbacks.
Yeah. Well, the issue is that we've seen the kill all gods thing. Like, that's not unique.
Not just in God of War. That's in a lot of... Well, even Marvel's tackled it with the...
True.
I can't think of the dude's name now.
Thor?
But yeah, and Love and... Was that Love and Thunder?
I didn't watch that one, but yeah.
The God Killer Sword and whatnot, which... Yeah, so it's an overplayed story trope.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, the
also
problem.
Also got our Nathan Drake series, of course.
Oh, with
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Is it a series? I thought it was a movie.
Oh, that might be a movie. Actually, yeah, that's a movie.
Okay. Yeah, it has him and Mark Wahlberg in it. Which I thought about going to see that. I thought it's already out. I know I could be wrong, but anyway.
Yeah, it might have just came out.
But yeah, the thing about God of War and the issue that they'll run into, let me actually look. Isn't Christopher Judge, right?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, Christopher Judge. He also played like Teal'c in the Stargate series. But I mean, his voice is so specific. Mm-hmm. And it would be like really hard to have anybody else just come in and then you just hear boy, you know, just that, because that'll be the meme. Because you have this dude who just has it's a very specific voice. He has such a specific voice. And you know, I don't know. I don't know if that would be something that you could put in. But
I think what you're just going to have to do is have Dwayne The Rock Johnson play Kratos and just voice dub in Judge.
I'm good on Dwayne. I mean, like he's definitely done like stuff that has been good. There's no doubt about that. But I'm also good.
No, I'm with you. That was more of a joke than anything, not a suggestion.
Yeah. Dwayne The Rock, something or other, whatever he chooses to play at the time. I didn't watch Black Adam, but that was one I thought about watching and I didn't get out and see it. But I don't know. I'm a little over.
I'm burnt out on superheroes, so I'm good on that one.
Yeah.
The only thing superhero related that I'd be interested in is if I get a PlayStation next year or this year, maybe late. Keep saying next year accidentally. If I get a PlayStation this year, I do want to play the Spider-Man games. That's the only superhero thing that actually has me excited.
Yeah, no, I can dig it. So anyway, there's our long, convoluted second. Almost went 20 minutes. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I'm very impressed, and no one else is.
All right. Let's go ahead and get on into Andor here. So episode 10, One Way Out. I know it's not the same as the Allman Brothers song, but you know, when they were chanting "One Way Out," I just like, there's one way out, I just can't go out the door.
Literally, by the end of this episode.
So we pick back up where we left off. We're of the realization that, you know, you're not getting out the traditional way.
The timer is gone.
Exactly. And our Andy Serkis character, Kino Loy, he's struggling with this realization. You know, he's going through it. And Andor is very poignantly trying to tell him that it's over. It's like, I'd rather die fighting than die doing what they tell me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And here knocks in the rage music. Bleep you, I won't do what you tell me. Anyway.
There's a couple of scenes where that would have been perfect.
It would have. But again, it really does like reinforce how good a choice of putting Andy Serkis in here was. Because
absolutely,
the range of emotion that he put into it was great as he's going through all this. It's like, I was only 2 weeks towards retirement. But
masterclass actor, really.
It really is. And like the thing about it, you know, he made such a career out of like, you know, the creature actor and everything. But there's no reason in my mind why somebody cannot take the chance in putting him in a feature film at this point. Like a serious like Oscar feature film. You know, like Martin Scorsese type of thing.
I completely agree. And, you know, yes, the creature thing was always amazing. But at the same time, you have to convey so much emotion for it to matter with a creature that I think that turned him into a much better actor. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, I'm not going to lie. But it's almost sad in a way that he's only on a Star Wars TV show, because I feel like he could have been thrown in the new trilogy and just owned it completely.
Yeah, for sure. I was just kind of looking through his IMDb. Yeah, and like, he was in Black Panther. Okay,
he was.
You know, he was Snoke. We know that. Is he?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What was he?
He was
War too.
Apes. He was Caesar.
He did play Caesar. That's right. Forgot he was in Venom too.
Yeah, again, it's so many like seemingly side characters. A lot of movies, like he is a working. He's definitely a working actor. He's a worker, but like there's legitimately no reason why somebody out there shouldn't like say, "Okay, dude, it's your time. We're going to develop something for you specifically. Might have taken a while, but it doesn't matter. That this is your time to carry something. Let's see what we can do." Because like even like, you know, we talk about like Brendan Fraser coming back with The Whale, you know, and there's always every year or a couple of years, there's that one guy you're like, oh yeah, I know that guy, and he gets an Oscar nod or like a nomination for something, and it's like, yeah, we finally got him there. I think it's his time, because like the acting in this was so good that I don't know, it was just so good. And I'll also say this though. I think with Cassian here, with Diego Luna, I really liked how he kind of stepped up here and took a little bit more charge, because we've said it before, he's been kind of in the background a lot of this stuff, of this story.
Well, he finally realized this is his moment to strike and actually take action, and I think that the way they use him in this show is just beautiful. It's so good.
Absolutely. So we do have a couple of stories here. So we have a prison story. We have our Lonnie story.
Lonnie.
And then we have our Mon Mothma story. So do you want to focus on one like we did last week and kind of bowl through, or do you want to, what do you want?
Yeah, let's,
do you want to knock out the cheap stories and get to the big story?
See, like, Lonnie's story, is just because of the way it ends, is probably my favorite bit of acting. Mm-hmm. So let's get Mon Mothma out of the way.
Okay, so do you want to do Mon, Prison Break, Lonnie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
good
so.
Deal. So let's talk about the Mon Mothma of it all. We learned in the last episode, we learned in the last episode that she is trying to secure funds finally trying to do something here, but can't get to her funds. So she had her one friend come through.
She has her Breaking Bad moment. Got all the money and she can't use it.
Very good call. And so she is trying to get her money, and we have this shady Chandrilan character. Do you remember his name?
No, and it hasn't been said, unfortunately.
It did. They did say it in passing last week.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it yet this episode.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was trying to look through the MDB to try and Davo Skolden. So he arms dealer? Was that what it was? He was something shady.
I think so.
Okay. So, nicely dressed guy coming up here. He's like, yeah, we'll do business, but like, I got a kid. I've got a son. You got a daughter.
And he's old. And I can't find anyone for it.
Yeah, their marriage rituals are kind of funny.
Well, they definitely went the route of making the arranged marriage feel extremely uncomfortable and creepy.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah. Okay.
Not the arranged marriage concept.
Yeah.
I like that they make it so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, you got to feel uncomfortable sometimes. But yeah, so Davo's whole thing here is like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. But like, I just want to be invited back. No, I'll pay your fee. It's like, no, I just want to be invited back here. Maybe I'll bring my son. You've got a daughter. Like we could, and
makes arm dealer grandbabies. It'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah. Everyone will be rich.
Well, and he's trying to exert leverage. He wants perceived power. This is a senator, an important person, and he wants to exploit it. But the one zinger that I really liked is on his way out. Mon Mothma says, I'm not thinking about it. It's like, that's the first lie you told today.
Yeah.
Because she was. And again, Mon Mothma's not a likable character.
No, and I'm starting to wonder if it's just intentional at this point.
Well, the thing is like, everybody sacrifices something. And we get to this with Luthen. Everybody sacrifices. And in her case...
for Mon Mothma.
And she hasn't really to this point. I mean, she's been the figurehead. She's been the annoyance. Which could put you in trouble. But really, if you think about it, the Emperor understands there's going to be these annoyances. I don't think he cares. Not really. Is she being watched? Absolutely. He's not stupid. But he doesn't, honestly, I don't think he views Mon Mothma as a threat. And here's the other thing, too, that I'd add on to this. We saw it in Rogue One, where Mon Mothma was not able to rally the council. We've seen it in Aftermath, where she wasn't able to fully rally everybody around her. She just doesn't have that. And we're
she's
supposed
not
to love her,
in
but it's
any
tough.
way. She's everyone treats her as she's so regal and kind, and she really isn't. She's not that charismatic. She doesn't have any of the traits of a strong leader. And like, I'm sorry, Princess and the Scoundrel made it out to be like, well,
that was rough.
Enjoy this new life. You're gonna be hunted every day, just like me. You have, a price on your head. It's like, well, yeah, I understand that. That's stressful. Yes, you have a price on your head. But you're also surrounded by people that just ran into the line of fire to make this war happen. And you're not surrounded by many people who sacrifice themselves for it.
Right.
So don't act like you're so much more at risk than all these other people. And way to just screw over Leia when, throughout the entire thing, she talks to her like, oh, she's like my big sister, and I love her so much. And, oh, she's sending me on a death mission again.
Yep. Well, and that we talked about that with Princess and the Scoundrel, though. I don't think Mon wanted to share power, and I think she saw Leia as a legitimate threat, which she was, because who should have been Chancellor, or who should have been the leader of the New Republic? Leia. Leia would have brought them into a more positive future.
General was not an appropriate role.
No. So that's the Mon Mothma story. We don't have much with her here. Look, I get her dilemma. I don't want to be completely insensitive because I do understand, like, it does take a lot to do what she's doing, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you hear Luthen's story at the end, what he has sacrificed, when you see Andor literally in jail potentially for the rest of his life and what he's sacrificed,
yeah,
it's hard to compare.
It is. It is. So let's move on.
Yeah.
To the prison break. So, again, we're picking back up. Kino is now of the opinion, it's like, you're right. You're right, Andor, we got to get out of here. There's only one way out. And that's to listen to the Allman Brothers. You ready to go? Let's get on program, man. So I did like when they went back into the cell block and he finally breaks. It's like, nobody's getting out.
Yep. Somber moment.
Yeah. But you have this, you have the emotional leader and then you have the killer, and the killer's Andor. This is a guy who is calculating, and it's very appropriate. I think it's written very well because even when we get further on into the story, Andor pushes, dang, his name just went straight out of my head. Kino. Jeez. I'm tired today. So Kino into the leadership role, and he goes to the side, and it's spy stuff, man. He's the side guy. He's the side man. He's the one who gets stuff done.
Well, it's cool. You see in so many shows the main character sending the spy to go deal with stuff, and then you just, you never see it happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting for your main character to be the one you don't see all the time, but he's doing something important in the background, messing with that panel over and over again, but we don't have to see it over and over again.
Yep. Well, he realizes that, his voice might not carry weight with everybody, but this guy will get us moving. So
kind of like Luthen.
Exactly. So, they go about their normal work day, and Andor sort of scurries off. He then goes off to mess with the water line.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you feel bad for the person who had to make that whole thing look like it's from the Star Wars universe?
Yeah.
Your entire job is to make this water line behind an access panel, but it has to be extremely Star Wars.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Have we even had a description of water line? Just make it Star Wars.
Make it look space. So basically the idea here is that while we have a new prisoner coming in, and by the way, I do like that they give the actor who played Olaf just like one more credit here, Christopher Fairbank, because he was shown for like a half a frame.
Yeah.
He's dead. But so we bring in a new prisoner, and at this point we're going to start a distraction, and we're going to start taking out guards. Stuff happens quick here.
Yeah.
Very, very quick.
This is a quick episode. There is not a lot of fluff.
No, not really. I mean, it's still standard length, but yeah, it does move. And Kino basically is like, attack. So everything's just going crazy. They're chucking stuff. Guards are shooting people. So like, this was a lot
of people.
Right. And this was another thing that Kino kind of like said. He was like, I'm just thinking that I'm dead. I'm going about this like I am dead, and there's nothing I can do. So it's basically cannon fodder. You have two guards with blasters against people who can throw stuff. And they're not doing a very good job at hitting them with the stuff.
No.
It's fine. I do like that the new prisoner does get a lick in. Like, he takes out the one guard. He just cattle prods him, and then he's shot. But a lot of
we have our climbers that just aren't being covered at all, and they keep getting shot as they're trying to climb up.
Yeah.
Cassian somehow is the only one who doesn't, and it makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people die here fairly quickly. And then we get the point where the guards want to shock the floor. So most of our people, aside from like one guy, get up on tables.
The one guy who has to die just to make a point.
Exactly, to show it. But the water going through here short circuits the circuit, and power goes down. The floor is no longer electrified. So at this point, it's bedlam. It's a free-for-all in this particular unit. They charge and eventually are able to overwhelm what was it, like 3 or 4 guards we had here. And then, once the prisoners get blasters, man, oh boy, you're in for it at that point.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how many blasters are in this prison with how few guards there are. It's pretty stupid.
Yeah, they do.
Stupid.
They do have several racks of blasters just around, and as soon as they're able to get into the into the kind of control center here, they're able to get blastered up and just move almost freely. And this was a psychological advantage that they were talking about that the guards had. They didn't require a ton of people because they had almost all control. They could just zap you. But the one moment you figured out how to take away that advantage, they have no power anymore.
They have no plan.
No.
They have absolutely no plan or training for this. These are probably some of the worst combatants in the military of the Empire.
Well, and there's not like a garrison of stormtroopers here either. These are just officers, probably low-level officers with, like one, who knows, maybe a captain, maybe a lieutenant runs this place.
But they're dead already.
And they're dead. The prisoners make pretty short work, and they go effectively pod by pod, releasing all of the prisoners, and everybody's just they're down 5,000 prisoners, and
not even 10% in guards.
Exactly.
More like 1%.
So,
and these guys know, like they cut to some other cell blocks and everything, and the guards there are just like, we are screwed.
Yeah.
No chance.
Exactly. Well, we finally do make it into the main control room here with the nerdiest group of guys.
Yeah.
And we're able to shut down all the power, and they're released. Yeah. They're basically released.
Yeah, quickest prison break ever.
Very quick. Now, we don't know what's going on the whole planet, and their escape is basically to plunge into the water, which I want to talk about just briefly because there is a terminal velocity you hit where getting into that water is
doesn't matter how straight you go into it.
No, it's basically like hitting concrete. Your legs would break. You would have...
And how shallow is it? I mean, is this an ocean? Is this... I'd have to imagine it'd be deep enough for you to not hit anything, but
yeah, it's a long shot, but I mean, to be honest, like it's a shot that you would take because what the hell else are you going to do? But the only thing is they don't have one
Empire's
shuttle
coming at this point. Like, obviously someone sent out a distress beacon.
Right. Now, I do want to point out Kino's speech here when he gets over the mic, and I do like how we had the credit of the voice of God, Martin Ware, the voice of God. So, like whoever's speaking through the speaker.
Nice.
And then we get our chant, one way out, and everybody, they feel the hope. Star Wars is all about hope. And Kino at this point, we don't know what he's done to be in prison. But at this point, he could have done anything, but he is the hope behind all of this. And he even utilizes Andor's speech here too in his own, which I think is a great callback.
Yeah, this is a really awesome scene, and this is again just masterclass acting.
Absolutely,
the range of emotion is awesome. He is terrified to give this speech. He is terrified of what's to come, and he has the resolve of a freaking gorilla right now. He is just going to bulldoze through whatever he has to.
Well, that's the thing. It does take a lot of courage to have the resolve to do what must be done. And that is why, the rebellion is such a big thing. It took a lot of courage and resolve to do what they did.
Well, and it boils down to the mentality of it. I mean, Kino at this point has nothing to lose. He knows that there is nothing to wait for, nothing to look forward to. And ultimately, the rebels felt the same way. They knew what was going to happen if they lost.
Yep.
Even getting into it before they were a target, they knew what life would be like.
Yep.
And that's what it takes.
100%, man. 100%. So we get to the sort of final here where we're all plunging just straight into the water, and Andor looks at Kino and he's like, I can't swim.
This was just a devastating moment. I was so sad. Probably one of the saddest moments in Star Wars, I'm not going to lie.
Well, here's the thing, though. We don't know that he's dead.
Sure. But just like not knowing, and that's the last thing we hear, it's like, oh, I don't care if all these people survive. That sucks.
It does. And then even towards the very end, we see Andor and one other guy get out of the water. So we only know of 2 survivors of 5,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even to the point where they're like, we don't know if we're the only ones that survived. We have to go tell what happened here. Like, somebody has to know.
Right. So we don't know how they're going to get off this planet, how they're going to get back to where they need to go. We don't know if this other guy is going to survive, assuming, well, you do. You watched it. I haven't watched it because I've been
comments.
A good boy. But yeah, it's very interesting, and we will kind of see. But obviously, Andor was able to escape, and that kind of sets up the rest of the series. So now, I guess we can just move into the Lonnie.
Old Lonnie. Do we want to go through the little, what is the timestamp on that little Empire meeting?
Yeah, I was just trying to find that quickly. It was, I think, towards the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to say, okay, there it is. Around 7 minutes.
Yeah, so there was one other little short... Excuse me, one little short to do with, what was it, Cinta? Vel's girlfriend?
Yeah, where is that?
Well, regardless, back on Andor's planet here, we kind of get the feeling that, like Andor's mom is not doing too well. Mm-hmm. And then we see her just stalking in the shadows, sort of following. We see another guy who's like watching. Like, there's a lot of moving parts, but we don't get very much more in this particular scene. But we do know that Vel and Cinta's mission was effectively to eliminate Andor. That was their thing. So correct. Are they going to try and rough up the mom? Are we going to get, Andor's buddy, worker buddy, and maybe, what's the girl's name? Bix involved, I assume, a little bit more. We'll kind of see what's happened with Bix. She was tortured last episode and seemingly just left. So we'll kind of have to see where we're off with that. But yeah, we do get this little scene. We had captured a rebel pilot, destroyed the ship, made it look like an accident. Lonnie's in the control center here. Is just like, hey, it would be much more suspicious if we didn't look at this. And Partagas is like, yeah. It's like, Partagas, have you been taking some spice, bro? Like, yeah, he's real focused.
We hit this point, and it's like, does Partagas just agree with everybody? Like, whoever the last person was that talked, he just agrees with them.
Yep.
He's got a stressful job, man.
Yeah, he's interesting character, but so Lonnie, we figure out, is actually a plant. He took the oath, and he periodically, hasn't met in a year, but he periodically would meet with Luthen. And he sort of sends the bat signal, which is, what is it, a mark on the fountain and then a torn off ballast on a, on a stairway. Yeah.
The most obscure things possible, basically.
Yeah, it's good. And, Luthen is like, Well, his associate there is like, it's probably a trap. I should go. It's like, well, if it's a trap, we'd already be dead and all this stuff.
Right.
So
I love their back and forth.
Yeah, it's
almost
good.
like they're equals in a way.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
and they probably are.
I think
based
they
off everything
are.
We've seen so far.
I mean, Luthen obviously is the front here, but I think that they both have a lot to contribute.
Yeah.
So Luthen kind of sets up the elevator here so that Lonnie's sort
Matrix
of trapped.
Scene.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He's aware that Lonnie has a new daughter, and Lonnie kind of wants to get out.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a kid now. I'm giving you Miro. I'm giving you this plan. Like, the guy. Shoot, I don't remember who is the guy who was attacking was it like a power station?
I want to say it starts with a K. What's his name? Yeah, I can't think of it now.
But Krieger or something like that.
Krieger,
right?
Krieger,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
So he's basically on a suicide mission. As I was saying this, I wanted. Oh, I found it. Thank you. God, I knew I was figuring this out. I have to run through it. Coventry. So, do you remember the Sherlock episode? Scandal in Scandal in Belgravia with the flight of dead people that was supposed to go down that Sherlock foils, but technically they wanted the plane to go down.
I didn't watch the entire series, so that's not ringing a bell.
Okay, so I am attempting to figure this out because I have a little bit of an issue, but if I remember, there was some sort of I hate this. I should have looked it up. I should have looked it up before, but I think that there was a historical event during World War II that had this connotation where basically we knew about an attack, or the British knew about an attack, and they let it happen because it would be far more suspicious for them to stop it. So this is the same premise, and that was also in that episode of Sherlock.
Wasn't that mentioned in what's the code breaking machine? The movie about the creation of that Nazi code breaker machine.
Talking about,
I think
Wind Talkers with Nicolas Cage.
No. It's a newer movie than that.
Oh, you're yeah.
I can't think of the name of it now.
Is that the one with Benedict Cumberbatch in it?
Yes, it is.
Whatever.
Well, I think it's mentioned in that anyway. Yeah. I think that's one of the things they uncover with that.
That's probably what I'm trying to allude to.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, they're going to let the attack happen. They're going to let this group be slaughtered, probably blame the robbery on them so that everybody can continue to work from the shadows, which is dirty.
Yeah.
But it has to be done. And this sort of launches Luthen into this speech of what he's lost. Because you're looking at Lonnie, simple guy who
Lonnie's thinking about his daughter and nothing else, and he basically says, I would be sacrificing more. These people are sacrificing everything. What have you sacrificed?
Yep. And this is what unfortunately good people become in times of war. Mm-hmm. They become the thing that they hate because they understand that the only way to break the chain is to become what they hate.
Well, the only way you can fight an evil person is to lose a bit of your humanity, unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
good people can't defeat bad people without compromising in some way. It's not how the world works. It has to happen. It's just a mattering a degree of severity. I mean, you have your Leias who, yes, mass murder, absolutely mass murder, but ultimately still somewhat of a good person in some ways, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You have Luthen, who just is the person that takes up the role of just the dirtiest, seediest portion of what it takes to win any war.
Yeah.
And this episode encapsulates what I want out of an adult Star Wars.
Yep.
It actually gets into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to win this war.
Yep.
And it really makes the destruction of both Death Stars way more important and adds a lot of gravity to it that you just don't get on your first watch of Star Wars.
Agreed.
It takes all the fantastical aspects of it and grounds it in reality.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives a lot more substance to it. I would say that, like, you know, you talk about you know, a lot of the folks who like return from World War II and even some of the other more recent wars, Korea, Vietnam, they didn't really talk about those sort of experiences, you know. And like World War II, when you were literally fighting the embodiment of evil,
mm-hmm.
I mean, Hitler, obviously, but the Nazi party, the axis of evil here.
Mm-hmm. Damn Italians.
That's terrible. There were a lot of people who did a lot of things that they probably really regretted, but they understood that the sum was greater than the parts. You know, sometimes you had to do things that you find repugnant to do what was required to stop the evil.
Yeah. And I mean, look at, not to get into some things that obviously for some people, yeah, maybe you had family that was affected by this. I hate to bring up anything that's a sore subject, but it's also history. Look at Nagasaki, Hiroshima. Mm-hmm. Imagine being the person to make that call.
Well, make the call, drop the bomb, deliver the payload, the whole thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
And I guess that's a good example of this. Whereas it would be difficult to be the bomber on that run, Luthen is the person that makes the call for that to happen.
Yep.
And it would just, I would have to imagine it would have to weigh on you in such a way that you can never really comprehend. And I love the final bit of his speech. I got pulled up. I'll just read it. I won't say much on it, but it's pretty profound, I feel like, for Star Wars. You know, I burned my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. And the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror.
Yep.
Never have its time in the sun, no recognition, no love, no appreciation. He truly does give his life to the cause. Whatever happens to him moving forward, he's destroyed himself.
Yep.
He can never be a part of what he creates. He can never just go on to live a normal life. He probably wouldn't allow himself to.
Yep. Exactly. It was it was heavy. Great dialogue. Whoever wrote
Absolutely.
the actual dialogue, great job there.
Yeah. Whereas Andy Serkis just has the most dramatic performance possible.
Yep.
Skarsgård just delivers some of the best speech possible.
Yeah.
And it's all the same episode. It's all the same arc, and it's all just freaking gravy. It's all amazing.
Yeah. It really was. It's peak. It really is peak Star Wars here. It's peak. It's not just peak Star Wars. It's just it's peak cinema. You know, this is how it should be, and I'm very happy that we got the show we're getting, even with a somewhat slower start.
This is absolutely the show that I would point people that are on the fence of getting into Star Wars or make fun of Star Wars for being goofy. This is a show I'd point it to, and this arc specifically.
Yep.
It would almost ruin you, though, because you never I don't know if I could say you get better. As far as just, obviously you have, for a true Star Wars fan, you have moments that are irreplaceable. You have Yoda training Luke, pulling the X-Wing out of the swamp. You have these mystical moments that just, for a true fanboy, make you feel like a kid every time you watch it.
Yep.
But for a person who's just into the quality of the acting, I understand how there's parts of those movies that just aren't that great.
Sure.
And if you're not into practical effects as much, it's not going to interest you. But this, yeah, I don't care if you're a Star Wars fan. This is just damn good writing and damn good acting.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, man. It's it's something else, and it's all heavy, it's all good, and heck of a ride here. So I think kind of maybe start winding her down here. Let's go ahead and give it a rating. So what are you rating it out of 10? and
9 out of 100?
Not this time. Maybe later.
Okay. I don't see why there's much of a difference between ratings of 100 and ratings of 10.
No, not really.
You're essentially just doing the same.
It's just a bigger number.
It's more interesting as bigger number. I won't really get into a lot of why I like this episode. I basically just did explain the majority of it. It's damn good. There's not a bit of it that isn't exciting. It's a quick episode, but a lot happens.
Yeah.
It's dense. Dense would be the word I'd use.
Yeah.
Highly emotional episode. You have some moments of great triumph, some tragic moments. We don't know what's happening with Kino near the end, but he is turned into a hero of the rebellion, essentially, even though we don't really get to see him anymore, at least in literature. Maybe they'll make him a bigger character. Maybe they'll kill him off. Hard to say. But,
yeah. And then, I mean, again, there's always a potential that we could still see him. We just kind of have to get there, and we'll see.
Right. Stellan and Andy just battle for who gets the best moment in this episode. And it's definitely difficult to choose. I mean, they're both so good. The fact that we get two high-end actors like this for a show that was expected to flop, it's very satisfying. And I think that this show has really changed a lot of people's minds on the direction of Star Wars, which is just awesome. Yep. It breathed so much life into this fandom.
Agreed.
And I think that this and the last episode were the peak of that. I know I said that the last episode was my favorite, but rewatching this kind of makes me question that a bit. I like to kind of clump them together. I would just watch them back to back and judge them as one episode to an extent, but I'm going to go a little higher because of our world-class acting, and I'm going to give it a 9.4.
Okay.
Just an amazing episode.
Yeah, and the story was great. The acting was fantastic, and overall, there's not much more to be said than what we already said. You really care about a lot of the characters, and then behind it all, there's Andor just sneaking around. He's doing his thing. Really powerful moment from Luthen that I think he needed. And this Kino guy, this is kind of, I think, a bit of a wrench that we had with Rogue One, because, we just meet these people. It's all very quick, and then they're gone. And I think it's kind of picking up a lot on that too, which can be kind of tough to deal with. But yeah, overall really good, and kind of I don't know. I guess you could sort of call this an end cap episode to the jail arc, because seemingly we're now out of that, and then moving into sort of the finale here. But yeah, this was just it was well written. I think it definitely has to be ranked higher because of the dialogue. The dialogue was all just so good and poignant, and from top to bottom, all three of our sort of sub stories, it all just made things so much more real. So For that, I'm actually going to agree with the people of the IMDb who rated this as a 9.5. I'm going to go 9.5 on this.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this episode, it is completely nitpicky. It's like OCD, oh, this isn't right, levels of critique. But the only things I can say that weren't perfect in this episode that would take it down from a 10 is just the Mon Mothma stuff I didn't care about.
Yeah.
Not even bad, just didn't care about. And the simple fact that there would be that many blasters in a facility that is manned by way fewer people than could have ever used them and made it that much easier for the escape to happen. Would have happened either way, don't get me wrong. But it was just goofy in a way to me. I don't know. Other than that, though, it's just, yeah. About as perfect as perfect can get for Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Do we have to talk about anything else?
No, we do not.
All right. Well, folks, hopefully you enjoyed the episode and hopefully you have enjoyed Andor and all that good sort of stuff. As we go along, we'll finish up Andor, get in a Bad Batch, Mandalorian, the whole 9 yards, and have a change up eventually, just in format and so forth. But we're just trying to roll through this and get through it. But yeah, it's been a good ride through Andor, so it's been nice getting back in. But if you'd like to interact, obviously at TC Plan Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, all that good sort of stuff. Or if you just want to write us maybe an email, ask a question, make an observation, tcplanpodcast@gmail.com is where you can go. But I think that is all for us, so y'all have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.